to know that, oh, this isn't my responsibility. That was that other person that did this to me, and they don't get to do that anymore. And they don't get to do it anymore because I'm standing up for myself and I'm letting everyone know exactly what they did and how it wasn't okay. And they take charge, right? And to just see that growth and to see, these kids, find a sense of empowerment and a sense of safety and just move on with their lives. It's, oh, wow.
Incredibly rewarding.
Yes. Yeah.
Was it hard prosecuting those cases in the sense that you had a first-hand experience of seeing what kids are capable of? I mean, I feel like it's different when you see it from adults because you recognize that adults are capable of extreme acts of violence or of these sexual acts. But when you see it from a kid, it's gotta have a little different kick to it, I would imagine.
Absolutely. And and again, I think what helped in terms of how I dealt with that, like on a personal level, of course, it's really important to have really good boundaries in all of this. But knowing that sometimes that intervention through the court, would get attention for that particular child and hopefully get, oftentimes, these kids weren't going to school or, there were other issues beyond whatever the criminal conduct was. And I think that helped me deal with the overall situation as well, just kind of knowing that we're all here to serve their best interests and maybe there will be services in place that can kind of help the family as a whole. But yeah, it was hard at times to look over and see, kids and one of my colleagues would always reference this. It was like, yep, his feet didn't even touch the floor. So it's like their little legs just swinging,
That is crazy.
But, I recall, I think the youngest age I ever filed any charges, and this is, were these two little boys who were in a school field during the weekend, unsupervised, and it turns out that they had attempted to break into a classroom, and they were going to break into the classroom so they could kill the hamster, and they were then burning each other's hair out in the field, and they had lighters. And so how many red flags, do you need? And what I do remember is of those two boys, when, he was arraigned on his charges and there was some intervention and he never came back. The other little boy, he had, reoccurring incidences and challenges throughout the rest of his life. So, and it was fine. Nobody hurt them, but it was important that folks take a good look at what was happening for those two boys. So, but yeah, it was hard.
Wow. Yeah, I would imagine. I would imagine it had a very big impact on your career, especially where, you walked in and that's where you started. Is that common? Do most lawyers that go into the DA, do they start with juvenile cases as a way to kind of build up?
No, lots of people, it depends on the office, but lots of folks are able to kind of have their entire career without doing the juvenile justice portion. And it's not really the place for everyone. I think that it's sort of a unique area of practice for prosecutors, in part because there isn't that, out in the public, I didn't have juries. It was really with the courts and the families and, the defense attorneys. And it's kind of it's its own little world, if you will. And, but I think it's really good and important exposure for all. And it is a little bit unusual to do it for as long as I did it. I loved it. And one of the careers that I considered, of course, was, going into teaching and working with kids. And so even after I came out of the juvenile justice program, I came out and I did general felonies for about a year. And but then I quickly transitioned and was assigned to sexual assault unit and the child abuse cases. So, and I've been doing those since. So I've almost throughout the totality of my career have had kind of protection of children as a key component to my career. And that's just been, very rewarding for me. But again, I don't think it's for everyone because it is really tough. It is
I
very
would
tough.
imagine you would have to maintain a certain temperament in that, because it would become very easy to be jaded seeing all of those cases, especially sexual assault cases, right? And just seeing that and having to deal with, like, these are the only cases you're getting. That would be a hard pill to swallow.
Yes, it's.
I mean, in the sense that it could break you down seeing that side of humanity repeatedly like that.
Yeah. And, vicarious trauma is a real thing, as you're exposed more and more to other people's trauma and tragedy, that can have an impact, on folks that try to be aware of that. And yeah, so I don't kid myself. There's a cost to it, but at the same time, there's a tremendous reward as well, because I have had the opportunity to follow, have cases where we were able to prosecute and we were able to, take it the whole way and hold the offender, appropriately accountable for the conduct, empower the victim, give them a sense of justice. And really it's freedom. Really, that's what they get, and to know that, oh, this isn't my responsibility. That was that other person that did this to me, and they don't get to do that anymore. And they don't get to do it anymore because I'm standing up for myself and I'm letting everyone know exactly what they did and how it wasn't okay. And they take charge, right? And to just see that growth and to see, these kids, find a sense of empowerment and a sense of safety and just move on with their lives. It's, oh, wow.
Incredibly rewarding.
Yes.